So thank you again for the invitation, Klaas and Eric Penser. I will be providing you an update about Oasmia. So my name is Francois Martelet, the CEO of Oasmia since March of this year. So forward-looking statement. So Oasmia is an integrated, innovative specialty pharma company using a technology platform that we called XR17 in order to generate new formulation of marketed drugs and to address new compounds, basically. So we called our platform XR17, and fundamentally, this platform addressed one of the major issues in the drug development industry, which is solubility of small molecules. We have a growing pipeline. We have paclitaxel micellar. We have docetaxel micellar. We are working also on new API. And we have been focusing on oncology so far, but the platform is agnostic and therefore can be used in other therapeutic areas. We have a market cap of around 2 billion Swedish kronor. We have decided, as the outcome of our strategic review, back in March and then April, May, to focus the company on R&D and not, on commercial production facility as it was the case before. And why? Because our core competency lies in research and development. And as I said earlier, I joined the company in March of this year. Right, so this is what we call the new Oasmia. This is we are part of the turnaround of Oasmia. We've been able to appoint high caliber senior management executives such as Frederick Yersten from Karolinska Development as a CFO, Peter Selin, Chief Business Officer from Inceptua. And at the same time, the board has been reshuffled and consists of senior-level executives from the pharma and biotech industry, led by Anders Hefstrand as our chairman, and Ege Hellström, ex-Sobi, Birgit Statin-Norinder, ex-Pharmacia as well. So really, this is an important point because, without any competent and experienced people, you cannot do much. Right, so as I said a little bit earlier, we are addressing the challenges of poor drug solubility, which is a major issue in the pharma industry. You could see from this slide that pharma is spending close to $200 billion per year on trying to solve this issue. And an important point is that 40% of marketed drugs do experience drug solubility issue. And about up to 70%, 80% of the pipelines of small molecules are also classified as poorly soluble. So what does that mean? That means that either you have a failure from a clinical trial standpoint through the course of drug development, and or you are generating a number of significant side effects to the patients that you don't want to see. So this is what we are doing. And of course, we can always alleviate that by introducing what we call solubilizer that are supposed to alleviate some of these side effects, but actually they also are generating themselves other side effects. Okay, so XR17 platform, how does that work? Clearly, this is what you could see from this slide. You have an API, and you have our platform, which is derivatives of vitamin A, Xmina, 13,6, retinoic acid. And then you combine them through a process that is called encapsulation that produces a micelle. And this micelle is itself water-soluble. And once it is administered into the blood through an IV administration, then the micelle dissolves very quickly, and the API can then reach the target. So this is the way it works in the body. So our platform has been validated, and this is a key point of this presentation of our company. We have an approved indication, ovarian cancer with paclitaxel micellar. Some of the characteristics, some of the features of our platform, we have a high drug load capacity. That means that we can basically increase the dosage of the API, and down the road, we think that that will lead to an increase of efficacy. We have a shorter infusion time. That's important for the physicians, for the nurse. They can treat more patients every single day. We have an infusion time of around an hour. I will come back to that. And compared to other technologies of the same kind, we have a superior solubility. And that's important as well. As I said, the platform is validated in ovarian cancer, advanced stages. Another critical point of this platform is that there is no need of pre-medication or post-medications. And in most cases, pre-medication is glucocorticoids. And we all know the range of side effects that corticoids do produce on the body. And if we could avoid to administer corticoids to the patient, that's really beneficial for the immune system that are, in most cases, depressed with a cancer, of course. So the platform is free from alcohol, free from chemophore. This is the main excipient that is being used with Taxol. Polysorbate 80, human albumin, that all these excipients do produce by themselves a number of significant side effects. Well, we have a broad protection up to 2036. I will not go into the level of details in this, but we have an IP protecting the manufacturing process. We have also IP that protects all the API that are in combination with XR17, and also in combination with other drugs. So we have the whole range of IP at Oasmia, which is quite important, of course. Right, so this is our portfolio. So we have both a human health portfolio and an animal health portfolio. On the human health portfolio, we have Apealea, so paclitaxel micellar, in advanced stage ovarian cancer that has been licensed out to a small company in the US. I will come back to that. Approved in Europe under an approval process in the US. Then docetaxel micellar, supertaxotere, in prostate cancer. Phase 1 is planned. We are working on new API, of course. We are not sitting, and then trying to see what will happen. No, we are working on the new APIs in order to put into the XR17 platform and generate a new formulation. We are also working on dual encapsulation process. We call that XR19. And this will be, this is, as we speak, assessed in cancer and also in other therapeutic area. Animal health portfolio, that is not our core business, but consists of Pacalvet, Doxophos-Vet, very well-known product in the animal health business. This is a business that is growing significantly, especially in the US. And I will come back to that with regard to the strategy of our animal health business. Right, so you may think that, okay, in a cancer business, with all the CAR-T and immuno-oncology drugs, the taxane market is almost gone. That's not really the case. The taxane market is growing, especially for ovarian. The overall taxane market was 2 years ago around $2 billion. It will be around 4.5 in 5 years from now. And that's an important aspect. It will be used in combination with all the new drugs that are on the market. So I listed here Taxol, Taxotere, Abraxane, and Jevtana. So an important point is that we are the only drug approved in advanced stage ovarian cancer, non-chemophore, in Europe. And the main indication for Apealea is clearly a subset of patients that cannot tolerate solvent-based paclitaxel because they are, for instance, diabetics, because, for instance, they have severe heart diseases. So this is the perfect indication for those patients who have an advanced stage of ovarian cancer and that cannot tolerate glucocorticoids. So that's That's the main initial indication of Apilia, and then we can expand beyond that, of course. Right, so I listed on this slide a couple of features of our technology vis-à-vis other technologies. An important point is the particle size of XR17. Particle size is small. That means lower immunogenicity compared to Abraxane, for instance, and other drugs, as you could see from the slides. Immunogenicity is important. You always want to boost it, so therefore it's important not to trying to create issues with particle size. And our technology, the micelle dissolve very quickly in the blood. We have been able to increase the dosage in our clinical trial in Europe for advanced stage ovarian cancer up to 250 milligram per square meters, as opposed to 175 milligram per square meters for Taxol. So higher efficacy, potentially as well. High drug load capacity, that's mentioned here under the ratio. That means lower amount of solubilizer needed in order to produce the micelle. And infusion time, an hour, which is quite quick and a significant advantage versus Taxol. So this slide summarizes what is ovarian cancer. You know, we may think that ovarian cancer has been declining over time, but it's not. So it's still the 8th most common cancer in women, and most of them will have a relapse within the first 3 years of diagnosis. The standard of care is carboplatin plus paclitaxel, and therefore we believe that there is a great chance for Apilia to be commercialized. You see Europe and the US, but Asia is certainly a very significant market for Apilia. Right, so we have signed off a deal with a US-based company called Elevar Therapeutics, that is a subsidiary of a major conglomerate called HLB, South Korean, market cap of around 5 billion plus US dollars. And this is a transformational event for Oasmia. The deal is worth up to close to 700 million US dollars. Plus double-digit royalties. We have received 20 million upfront payment back in April of this year. And the deal consists of milestones that are based on regulatory approval in new indications and geography. And at the same time, we have not licensing out the platform itself. We have licensing out the platform only with paclitaxel. So we remain we have the sole control of the platform for any other new compounds that will be generated out of this platform. Tanner Pharma Group will be initiating what we call the pre-launch activity in Europe. There will be physicians would be able to ask for Apilia in Europe on a case-to-case basis. This is what we call the pre-marketing activity for Apilia. And then the full launch will follow with the announcement of a European partner. Docetaxel micellar, so super taxotere. So another potential blockbuster. 1 man out of 7 will get prostate cancer in the course of their life. You see, you have 1.3 million men that are affected with prostate cancer every year. And docetaxel micellar has been will be initiated in a phase 1b. We've been approached by the Cancer Research Center in Switzerland called SAC in order to use our docetaxel micellar in metastatic prostate, hormonal-resistant prostate cancer. So this will be, we expect the first patient to be in during the Q1 of next year. Right, I will not go through a lot of details with regard to the income statement. So from a cash standpoint, we are certainly in a strong position. So if we add up cash and cash equivalents that are not mentioned here, but on the balance sheet, we have about more than 350 million SEK, plus a number of expenses that will be reimbursed to us from our partner in the US. You see the number of employees. So one conclusion out of the strategic review was, as I said earlier, we will not continue to do commercial production facility, and that means that we have right-sized the company. We have become much more lean and mean, much more agile as well. That's always important. And by the end of Q1 of next year, when the transition will be over, we will be less than 30 people in Oasmia. Right, so we believe we have a strong investment case. Why? Because, well, first of all, we are a commercial stage company. Not many companies in the biotech sector can claim that. Two, we have a validated platform, at least in one indication for one product. And also, not many companies can claim that. We do have a pipeline that certainly needs to be beefed up, and we are working on this. At the same time, we've been able to agree on a major deal. $700 million is not nothing, and it's very significant. We are in a strong cash position, and I've been able to upgrade significantly the management team. The board has been reshuffled as well. So the package is attractive, as a biotech company listed here. So to summarize, so we believe we are on our track to build a sustainable, profitable specialty pharma company. Of course, it will require multiple steps. But then, with the Apealea approved in Europe, with the sign-off of our partnership, with our pipeline, we are definitively well-positioned for beefing up our pipeline. So how do we do it? Either we licensing in compounds, phase 1, phase 2, or we acquire companies that are in oncology where there is a strategic fit with us, obviously. So this is what I wanted to tell you today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Francois, for the presentation. I have prepared a couple of questions for you. And I would like to start, Oasmia, during the last years, there have been a lot of changes in Oasmia, in leadership, ownership, and you have this great progress with Apealea, getting the drug approved. And as you mentioned now, you are aiming for taking Oasmia to become a specialty pharma company that is profitable. Could you perhaps give some extra color to what needs to be done, and when a time frame from an investor? Is this a 3 or 5 or 10-year perspective?
Right. Okay. So I think the first thing is to deliver on the Elevar deals. Obviously, we need to achieve the milestones together with our partner. That's the first step. Then the second step is to beef up our pipelines. So we need to acquire products. We need to have a more critical mass. Okay, and that will be done step by step. And oncology is our focus, but not necessarily. So at one point in time, we will add some more therapeutic area. But clearly, the foundations of this company are greater than ever. If you look at a few years ago how Oasmia was, if you look at today, we have a pipeline, a product approved, we have a deal, we have a strong cash position. So.
Absolutely, and I would we'll continue with the deal with Elevar. That is a very good deal, actually, I think. But it's a little bit curious looking at it, perhaps, why Elevar was chosen as a partner for the rights ex-US, so to speak. What is the advantage of Elevar being in the driver's seat to find partners in Europe and Asia, for example, and not Oasmia taking care of that part?
Okay, that's certainly a good question. So Elevar wanted to have a global deal. So that was one of their conditions. Okay. At the same time, we are working with them to identify European partner, and that step has already been done. And of course, I know that there is some impatience with regard to the launch in Europe, but it's important to find the right partner. Otherwise, we will have another problem, in a few months and years after, down the road. So we are focusing on a partner in Europe, mid-size, with the good sales and marketing capabilities. And why we have chosen Eleva? Well, of course, a company of our size will not be in love with big pharma, So we need to have a kind of a match, from a size standpoint. I think you become more agile. There is less bureaucracy. Decision making is faster. So all of these issues are certainly were driving the deal.
Okay. And you describe that you want a strong partner in Europe. How many possible partners for Apelia would you say there is in Europe that could have such an infrastructure?
There is not that many. It's not in the range of 50 or 100, of course not. So it's more in the range of 10, 15 partners. But I can tell you, we have identified them absolutely.
Okay. And is it possible to just describe a little bit more about how you are working with Eleva? I guess you have close connections with each other.
Yes, so I have a good relationship with the CEO first, which is obviously one of the conditions to have a collaboration that works well. Two, we have a joint development committee together where we review the clinical plan of future indications and ovarian in the US as well. And then we have joint steering committee, which is at the CEO level, where we review issues that have not been solved at a lower level. So and then we have that on a monthly basis. So there is a good flow of communication between the two companies. Okay.
Just a question also about now Eleva has the rights outside of the Nordic area and Russia and some other countries. So they will be in control of the news flow as well. What kind of news flow should we expect Eleva? When do they think a news is relevant to be publicly releasing to the investor community?
I mean, first of all, there is this ovarian indication in the US, and you know that every meeting with the FDA is confidential. So, of course, whenever the news will be there, from that standpoint, we will communicate that as well. And they will do it, and we will do it at the same time. Then there is new indications. And this is an area, of course, in order to unlock the potential of paclitaxel micellar, we will need to work with new indication, and we have initiated that.
Okay, great. And then I will jump to your technology platform, the XR17, as you discussed, has now been validated by regulatory agencies in Europe. And just wonder about how competitive is this space?
The space is competitive, but again, we are not a drug delivery company, as we may, some of the people can think of. But it's a tool for us. It's a tool. So it is a competitive area, but we are very well positioned in a niche indication for that particular compound, Apelia, paclitaxel micellar. We expect to have the same kind of advantages with docetaxel micellar, supertaxotere basically, and other taxanes.
Yeah.
So the platform is competitive. We've been able to prove it for one product. We should be able to replicate that for other products as well.
Listen to previous presentation from the company. Been some indication that there are some ongoing discussions surrounding the platform. Is there anything that you can share to us about the interest you're receiving?
Yes, so another step forward is certainly to make the platform available for other companies, bigger companies, you know. Well, you know, I've been 6 months in the job, so please give me some time to do that. But this is certainly an area that we are thinking, working in. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Not only in oncology, by the way.
Yeah.
Outside oncology.
Perfect, perfect. And just a question about docetaxel, micellar product, and the primary goal is that the product will be used without pre-medication, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just wondering a little bit, because this Taxotere, as you mentioned, has been on the market for years,
yeah.
But we have not seen similar development as in paclitaxel, where you have Abraxane being launched. Why do you think there have not been an sort of an Abraxane, or the albumin platform has been used to reformulate docetaxel? Well,
that's maybe the reason why we are in now. Prostate cancer, most of those patients are very sensitive to glucocorticoids, and if we, as much as we can, it is advisable to avoid them. Because, I mean, those advanced stages, patients, they have a risk of bone fractures, you know, all these kind of things, you know, which are the significant side effect of glucocorticoids, much more than in other indications as well. But, you know, we've been approached by clinical experts on a worldwide caliber, like the SAC group, to initiate a study in prostate cancer. So if you have a push from the bottom up, you know, it's really a good sign, you know.
And you have this strong preclinical package then for the product?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect. And now some questions from the web. If you just could comment on your strategy for perhaps acquiring other companies out there.
Yes, so the initial step will be oncology, which will be a fit with our company. We are not in a preclinical stage, or we cannot acquire only preclinical compounds. So I want to have compounds that have a POC, proof of clinical concept, first and foremost. So that means phase 1B onwards up to phase 3. And we are looking at a range of potential acquisitions as we speak.
Okay. Interesting. And also a question about if you would compare Oasmia to other specialty pharma companies out there. Is there any particular company you think is a good pair?
Well, we are, you know, we are in a turnaround situation. We are solidifying our foundations that are now very solid. We will be reaching the profitability, you know, down the road, of course, in a couple of years from now. I cannot give you any precise example, but if I look around, you know, I think that the target could be Genmab, for instance, you know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good pair, at least from an upside perspective.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's a great valuation and great company. Perfect. I also have a question about why you are making a new clinical study in Sweden on Apealea.
Yes, it's of course important to have, for physicians who have hands-on experience of Apealea in the Nordics. And we will be indeed trying to launch a national trial with Apealea in Sweden. As you all know, with the COVID-19, that has not been easy, but we do hope to resume our discussion fairly quickly in order to move this ahead. It's a very significant project for us. Yes.
Yes, I understand. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Klaas.
Thanks.